Tonight, there is a new undercover video exposing direct links between the Hillary Clinton campaign and outside groups promoting her campaign. The subject matter, a Donald Duck mascot, may on the surface seem silly and trivial, but it's no laughing matter if violation of federal law is involved. Chief Washington correspondent James Rosen joins us with the latest, including the White House reaction. Good evening, James.
Bret, good evening. Lawyers advising the conservative group releasing these undercover videos say that Donald Duck agitators, if funded by an outside group but controlled in some measure by the Clinton campaign or the DNC, could have run afoul of the laws that govern public communications against a candidate.
Donald, stop ducking! Donald, stop ducking!
For a while, costumed figures resembling Disney's Donald Duck became a fixture of the campaign trail, protesting outside Donald Trump's new hotel in Washington, crashing a Trump rally in Virginia, chastising the GOP nominee for not releasing his tax returns.
I'm not going to talk with you guys.
Even harassing pro-Trump congressmen. Now, in its latest undercover sting video, the conservative group Project Veritas Action presents a hidden camera confession from Bob Creamer, the consultant whose Democratic National Committee contract was severed after last week's Veritas videos, in which Creamer purportedly reveals the mastermind behind the Donald Duck's campaign.
In the end, it was the candidate, Hillary Clinton, the future president of the United States, who wanted ducks on the ground. So by God, we will give ducks on the ground.
So it's, wow.
Don't read that thing. We originally launched this duck because Hillary Clinton wants it.
Elsewhere, Creamer recounts to Brad Woodhouse, head of a progressive group called Americans United for Change, that the call relaying Mrs. Clinton's marching orders came from her deputy communications director, Christina Reynolds.
Christina Reynolds calls and says, I've got good news and bad news. Good news is the candidate would like to have a mascot following around the duck. I mean, following around the candidate, Trump. But the bad news is she wants it to be Donald Duck. And that's because Sklar is an old Clinton hand. And he had gone to somebody who's one of her body people, and she had explained the idea of Hillary, and Hillary just loved it.
The old Clinton hand, said to be influential in Mrs. Clinton's decision, identified only as Sklar, had helped orchestrate the Chicken George operation mounted against President George H.W. Bush in 1992. In all, Creamer's account calls into question this weekend's denial by Clinton campaign manager Robbie Mook, who was asked about Creamer, another Democratic operative implicated in the Veritas videos.
They've never had a relationship with the Clinton campaign.
A convicted felon who served time for tax violations and bank fraud, Creamer has advised every big-name Democratic politician of the last decade, including Barack Obama, whose White House Creamer visited 342 times, including 47 occasions in the presence of the president. In the latest video, Creamer says Donna Brazile, now interim chair of the DNC, intervened in the Donald Duck plot after ABC Disney, owner of the Donald Duck character, objected.
They said it was a trademark. It's not. But anyway, Donna Brazile had a kind of a connection with it. She wanted to get sued, So we switched the ownership of the duck to Americans United for Change.
Yet an assistant press secretary for the DNC confirms the organization kept a hand in the operation.
So we're not taking credit for the duck anymore. That's like random alley groups, but it's still something that we're involved in. We just have to be careful about these things and the way we talk about them and we know about certain things. But you guys I trust it. It'll all be fine.
Scott Foval, fired last week as field director for Americans United for Change, also was seen tying the duck operation to the DNC.
So the operation is to insert and get the duck message in there, if we can, or the extremist message, depending on, we have to clear this with DNC. Extremist? With Democratic National Committee.
Neither the Clinton campaign nor the DNC responded to our requests for comment. Speaking to reporters aboard Air Force One today, White House Press Secretary Josh Earnest said that Project Veritas has a history of selective editing, even as Earnest affirmed that such tactics have been seen in presidential politics for as long as he's been involved in it. Bret.
Thanks, James. Joining me now, attorney Elliot Burke, an expert in election law. Being here.
Great to be with you.
First, let's go over the legality of this. You've seen this video, what this group alleges. What about the legality of what's happening? Are they breaking the law?
Well, the first thing we need to look at is whether or not there's a public communication, and it's not clear to me from the video they put out that there actually is a public communication. That really means a paid political advertisement, so something in the newspaper, broadcast, satellite, something like that. Here, it looks like there just were protesters dressed up as Donald Ducks that had appeared, but I doubt the FEC would see that as a public communication.
What about the interaction between the Clinton campaign, the DNC, and this outside group? Numerous times in this video it says that it was Hillary Clinton's idea to deploy these ducks directly, the candidate.
Well, that's a different question, because anytime a candidate committee or a political party is working with an outside group, you get into possible in-kind contributions. And here, the allegation is that the candidate herself may have directed an outside group to engage in this behavior, and if so, that could be an in-kind contribution. In-kind contributions can be permissible, but they need to be reported. But because we're dealing with an outside third-party group here, that group may also take corporate contributions. And if that's the case, then it clearly would be illegal.
Now, that would result in an FEC filing potentially, and that's a long process.
That's correct, yeah. Typically, an FEC complaint, once filed, for it to go through the process, we're talking 18 months, maybe even years.
But overall, the perception here that on the first video that was dealing with violence and stirring up violence at Trump rallies, where Robbie Mook and others said they had no relationship with these people at all, and now you see the second video where they clearly have interaction and maybe even direction from the candidate. It's a different story on these two videos.
It is, and obviously that's a question for the voters in terms of trustworthiness, but in terms of the law, if there was actual conversations about if there was knowing and willful violations, then yes, that could get into a criminal investigation.